Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Meet the Presenters. I'm Andy Arbuthnot, and today I am joined by Mr. Freddy Jacquin. Freddy, hello, how are you?
Hi, thanks for inviting me, Andy. Yeah, I'm
You're
good,
very welcome.
thanks. Yeah.
We had a brief chat before we've started this interview, and I think we could have talked for days, perhaps, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously, you were there at the first conference as I was in Ireland,
Yeah.
and we were there when the very inaugural kickoff
Mm.
started. And since then, it's just growing and growing and growing. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you don't mind, obviously, many people will know who you are. But if you don't mind, if you wouldn't mind just filling us in a little bit about what's happened with you over the last little while
In what, in life or in a
in
business?
life, in life.
In
Obviously,
life.
what we were
Okay.
talking about, this year
Right.
has
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
challenging for you, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, November last year, I had a heart attack out
Yeah.
of the blue. I've always kept myself fit. It's a bit of a um, one-off kind of experience for me. Well, I hope it's a one-off anyway.
Hmm.
But because I kept myself well, it was kind of unexpected. Um, which was a shock. But anyway, then they realised I've got this valve problem, and in April this year, I had full-on open heart surgery, valve replacement, all that kind of stuff, and it was a big experience, but it was life-changing, life-enhancing,
Hmm.
because I realise now the power of our mind and how people who are not even hypnotists can affect you with their words and their kindness. And that happened for me in ICU. Um, I've never experienced kindness like it.
Okay.
I'm a very private kind of person. And to be honest with you, having someone take me to the toilet was a bigger dread than having open heart surgery for me. And I
Yeah.
suppose
Yeah.
it is for a lot of people.
Hmm.
But the nurses in ICU were just superb. But there was one time, they what they do is when they do this open heart surgery, they collapse your lung and they stop your heart for a while. So not having oxygen to your brain for a while can make you go a little bit loopy, and that and the drugs. And I was in a really bad state, maybe 3 days into ICU, really bad. And there was one nurse there, Nurse Inez. She's from Madrid. And all the nurses were great. There was five of them that looked after me over that period of time. But she was one of those nurses that the consultants consult. She's
Yeah.
very kind of strict and really good. But I was there, and it was the second time I'd seen her, second night that she'd been with me, and she could see I was in a bad way. And she said to me, she came along and she said, she put a hand on my arm, and she said, "Freddie, yeah, look how far you've come. You know, this too will pass, and now you can forget about the pain and the fear." And so really she did for me what I've done for so many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
She's utilized that emotional state
Hmm.
to give a suggestion.
Hmm.
And in that moment, it was like someone drew the curtain back and it was light again. And I knew it was going to be okay. And I was in a pretty bad way. So she wouldn't call herself a hypnotist, but she used those techniques of utilizing emotion
Yeah.
and giving a suggestion, a direct suggestion. So that was a big thing for me. So yeah, that's what happened to me in April. Um, I feel great now. Apparently, I've got another 25 years. And as you said before we started, when it comes to talking about this subject, starting me up is one thing, shutting me up is something completely different. Because I love this stuff, as you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the conference is great. I mean, as you said, we were there at the first inaugural,
Mhm.
and and John did that all on his own, which was
Mhm.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I think, I'm glad it's gone from strength to strength. And, especially in somewhere like Ireland where they didn't have a conference before.
Yeah.
And as you know, it is about the presentations and the learnings you get in those presentation rooms. But so much more of it is done in the coffee breaks and the lunch
Yes.
breaks and the time after, where you're speaking to people. I've done this for 30 years, and being a therapist is a pretty lonely place. It's not like you're in an office with lots of other people.
No.
And so we really have time to share what we do with other people. I'm lucky enough to work with one of my sons, um, and we run training together. But to have other people, because we think we're in this on our own, and we think our problems are only our problems. Can we create enough business? Why am we not create enough business, blah, blah, blah. And then you speak to other people and you realize it's the same. And, by talking to other people especially in that conference in Ireland and getting to know how they work.
Yeah.
Because for me, I've done this for 30 years and I think I'm reasonably good at what I do.
Mm.
But you're still going to meet someone who's got an idea. Just sometimes it's like a golden nugget of information you get from someone. And you think, oh, I could use that in my therapy room. And I do. I'm always learning. I never think that I'm a fully,
Yeah.
cooked person. So I think that's one of the benefits of the conferences. And,
Yeah.
whether you've ever been to one or before, everyone makes, especially in Ireland. I present in Las Vegas and London, all over the place. But Ireland has a different vibe. It's friendly. It's great. So yeah, I'm just going to click this OK because it says about recording. I'm sure it's still recording, but
Yes, it is. We're
right.
good. We're good. Um, yeah. So obviously Ireland has its special place. Like I've been to other conferences as well, and I think instantly one of the things I remember is whenever I first met you at the conference in Ireland back those few years ago, we were just sitting at the bar and you went, "Do you want a pint?" And I went, "Yeah, go on." So we just got, and I said to you I wasn't going to blow smoke.
Mm.
But the thing is, you're for people who are watching this, potentially just sitting with a legend, someone who's been at this for 30 years. Yeah, you see, there's that smile, right? So it's like,
Because it's very strange to hear it,
yeah, no, but
because you never see it yourself, do you? But
no,
yeah,
no,
I
but
understand.
that's what I'm saying. That's the perception that people will have, and it's one of those things where all of a sudden, and like I spoke to you just before we came on here, and I told you the story of me driving down to that first conference, and you've known me a while now, and it's like I'm a confident chap, but at the
Mm.
same time, I nearly turned and went home,
Mm.
because I was like not sure what to do. But the whole thing of what you're saying and what we want people to understand is you meet people very quickly who become friends,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you learn things and you develop friendships that last for a very long time. And that's
Mm.
one of the things we want to get across to people. But the whole purpose, and you've been instrumental in helping us with this, the whole purpose of what we want to achieve with the Irish conference in particular is to help grow hypnotherapy in Ireland. You
Mm.
know, get it to become more mainstream so that people come and
Mm.
see hypnosis, hypnotherapy as a more go-to rather than a last resort, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah. I've been pushing for that for 30 years,
yeah.
and and the difference is vast now,
Mm,
and it is happening. And I think it's happening everywhere. The medical world can't ignore the possibilities of what hypnotherapy can do.
mhm.
Especially with things like mental health and anxiety and stress, which seems to be growing everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful tool. And I work with the College of Medicine here in the
Yeah, you do.
UK,
Yeah, so
and they really want it in mainstream. They understand the power of it. I'm working with, we're not working with, but I've met and presented to some of those. They're the top kind of medics in the UK, and they get it. But our problem has always been the same. It's where's the kind of how do you explain what hypnosis is? This is the big problem.
mm,
People say, well, I went to see Freddy and I've been smoking 40 cigarettes a day for the last 30 years. Yeah, and what happened? Well, he spoke to me for a while, and then what happened? Well, he suggested I close my eyes. I closed my eyes for a while, and then what happened? Well, he spoke to me a bit more, and then what happened? Well, I opened my eyes. What happened after that? Well, I haven't had a cigarette since.
yeah, yeah,
But what did he do?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
how do you get this? How do you explain it? Because it's a phenomena.
yeah,
I think it's a gift that not given to the to given to humanity, not to the therapist.
yeah.
It's not. Um, it's such a great tool,
Mhm.
and it's, as I say to all my clients and my students, is that I don't actually do anything. I have the ability to help people get in touch with their own ability to change.
Mhm.
And I think that's why it's so difficult to get it through to the medics. And not only that, but there's no money in it for the medical world. And
Yeah,
that's another big problem.
yeah,
It's so trying to overcome the big drug companies and get past that. When we can help people out of pain in 5 minutes
Yeah.
with just words, and you know it, I know it, you've
Yeah.
used it, I've used it.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it comes to a point where it will be duty of care for doctors to offer this to people who are in pain if they're giving them the maximum amount of painkillers they can give a person, and it's no longer touching their pain. Then, for me, ultimately, it has to be, well, there's hypnosis, and I
Mm.
don't even have to call it hypnosis,
Mm.
but that for me is where it's got to go. At the Irish conference this year, or the coming year,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I've created it. We haven't published it yet, but therapeutic hypnosis, beyond blades and bandages, I called it.
Okay.
How can we help people physically with hypnosis? We know we can do it with things like gastric band. We know we can help people overcome chronic pain, um, it- or even acute pain with
Mm.
hypnosis. So my goal is to get that out there. So, if you're a mum and you don't have to be a hypnotherapist. If you're a mum and you've got a child that's suffering, could you help them with your words? If you're a medic, if you're a paramedic, and you've got someone in pain who's desperate, could you help them with your words? And could you actually help someone physically with hypnosis? I mean, I'm talking about actually helping them. I hate to use the word healing because we're not healers,
No.
but I'm never going to say the word cure, but
Mm.
we do know the power of our mind over our body when it comes to healing. In fact, even if someone's giving you a pill, it is still self-healing. It's your body that's going to
Doing
do
it.
the healing.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going to be talking about at the conference,
Mm-hmm.
and demonstrating some things at the conference. But so yes, I want everyone to know about hypnosis.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
it's interesting what you said. I'm trying to remember her name. Was it Innes?
Inns, yeah, Innis, yeah,
Innes. Yeah.
Innis,
Yeah.
Innis, yeah.
So, what she did in as an ICU nurse. Now, my sadly, my wife has had experience of being in, and I've had experience of the ICU. It's not a nice place to be. But one of the things that struck me about what you said was, in so many settings of my experience within the NHS, for particularly, um, medical professionals often don't understand the power of what they say.
Mm,
And for that lady to use exactly what we know,
mm,
without knowing what she's doing, or maybe
mm.
she does know what she's doing. But for her to be able to do that, that's something that should be more widespread than it is.
Well,
Yeah.
I work with a doctor, Naveed Akmal, at the College of Medicine. We were running advanced language patterns for medics to get
Okay.
exactly what you're saying across, Andy. There is a book called Beyond Pills and Potions. It's a great book, but in it, he's a surgeon. I think he's been a surgeon for 40 years, but he's also a great hypnotherapist. But he was saying that we're hardwired when we're born. We're hardwired with the um, what's the word I'm looking for? To follow the one least uncertain.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the instinct to
Yep.
follow the one least uncertain, and so that never goes away from us. And what medics don't understand, that they in those settings, they're the ones least uncertain, or they
Yeah.
should be.
They should be.
So
Yeah.
when someone's, the power of their words are immense. If you say to somebody, this doesn't look very good, I don't think you've got more than 3 months. The chance that person lasting more than 3 months, in that book, Beyond Pills and Potions, he talks about his mother who had colon cancer,
Okay.
and the prognosis was really bad.
Mhm.
And he said this, I think he said it was Chinese doctor or surgeon walked in. She said he looked at his mother or his mother-in-law and said, "You're a survivor. Let's get on with this."
Yeah.
And she was still around 10 years later.
Yeah.
I've said that to my clients after I read that.
Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
think they're not going to survive whatever's going on in their life, I look at them and I go, you're a survivor. Let's get on with this.
Yeah.
And those words of certainty, because as hypnotherapists, in our role, we've got to take that role on. We've got to be the one least uncertain.
Mhm.
When I say to my clients, they say, "Oh, I want to quit smoking." I say, "Well, you've had your last cigarette."
Yeah.
I say it like I say tomorrow the sun will come up.
Yeah.
someone's sitting in pain, I say, in a few moments from now, when that pain's gone, tomorrow when the sun comes up. So you have to, for me, I think those things were important.
They
And it's
are.
things beyond the techniques and protocols. And I think that's what we learn from people in the conferences,
Yeah.
not even in the presentations, but when we're talking to people and you listen to their stories,
Mhm.
about how they came to hypnosis, why they're in it. Those things were as important as, yes, it's great to go and watch some of these great people like Carl Smith,
Mhm.
and yourself and John. And, I think we've got people coming from all over the world now to the Irish conference.
Yeah.
Some great people. But you also learn in the breaks, in the
Yes.
lunchtime. And for people who think, well, I don't know anyone there, within 5 minutes you will. It's the way it goes there.
It is, and
Yeah.
that's what I was saying to you just before we started. It was like, before I walked in, I was like, I had to really steady myself and just go, right? And I went
Mm.
in, and I think you were one of the first people I met, actually. I think, yeah, you were. I think you were the second or third person I met, and there was you, there was Carl, there was Kenny, and all of a sudden it was just, oh, I belong here,
Mm.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And that's something that I want to try and get across to people, is that it's a place where you can learn, but also one of the things we talked about as well, which I'd like to touch on if that's okay, was there are a lot of people, and there's a lot of talk in the media now in the last very recent time about AI. And one of the things that you talk, and I'll let you talk about it as much as you want,
Mm.
but there's a thing that you're doing at the moment which is very interesting, but it involves AI, right?
Mm.
And I think with the likes of people who are thinking, well, I don't understand it, I don't get it or whatever, or it scares me, you know, I think if you don't embrace it and use it, and that's one of the things Stephen McGill will talk about and bangs on about all the time, and he's a like he's brilliant at what he does. We need to learn how to encompass that into what we do, and that's very important for the growth of hypnosis and hypnotherapy in Ireland, and also our own businesses. But if you want to elaborate a little bit, as much as you want, on what you've been talking about to me about, and how that can benefit maybe people who are considering coming along, if you would like to maybe elaborate a little bit about what you can do and how the power of AI can really enhance your business, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I've been looking at AI for a while. I mean, it fascinates me.
Mm.
I come from a time when if you wanted to make a phone call, I had to go to the end, the end of the street, Yeah. Yeah. So I come from a time, a long time ago. And the thing like AI and all this stuff we've got now would be like, well, it is science fiction,
Mm.
what we see today. But we have to embrace it, or we get left behind. It's like all
Yeah.
technology. It took me a while to even start working on Zoom when we first started.
Mm.
I thought I can't possibly be as effective on Zoom as I can if someone's sitting in front of me face to face, because it's
Yeah.
partly the communication and the energy and what kind of stuff. But now we've got Zoom. Most of my clients aren't even from the UK; they're from all over the world, and we're not geographically strapped now. We've got Zoom. But
Mm.
with AI, I'm always looking because, I've had thousands of students now, and I'm still running the courses, and every month we have, new students coming in. But for me, the Holy Grail is what you were talking about earlier, because you're in that kind of mindset of how do we create business, and in the hypnotherapy world, and it is the Holy Grail. Because so many people have these incredible skills. They go and do these courses with Carl and myself and, other people all over the world. They get these great skills, but then it's of no consequence if you can't get
Yeah.
people in your in your therapy business.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to be as focused on our business skills as we are on our therapy skills,
Mhm.
because you can't help people if they don't know you exist. So I'm always looking for different things. And the thing that came up recently was this thing called real growth. There's a guy on Facebook, a young guy. He said, "I travel over the world, blah blah blah." He looks like a surfer, and so I thought I'd buy it. It's 4.99, so I bought the book. And really, what he's saying in the book is, do what I do, sell a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then off the back of that, you get your big ticket clients and stuff like that, which everyone says. So I thought, well, fine. So I bought the book and I thought, okay, I'm going to create a book. So I created a book with the use of AI. I'm going to be honest about it. I used, it's my ideas, my prompts, but with the help of AI. And I've got a friend, you might have met Jasmine Bonkowski. She's a hypnotherapist in Germany.
Okay.
And what she did was she ran all of my books. I think she spent over 24 hours running all my books, all my audios, all my videos through ChatGPT to create a Freddy avatar, right?
Yeah.
So now if I ask it to do something, it will write it in my voice. It's studied everything I've done, right? All the millions of words that I've written, it's studied it now, and it calls me the master wizard. So that's a great idea, master wizard. So I end up talking to AI. Anyway, it's crazy. So anyway, I had the idea for the book. It maybe took me 3 or 4 days to get this book written with the help of AI. There's another AI platform called Eleven's Lab
Yeah.
where it cloned my voice. My family can't tell the difference between my AI voice and my voice when it's recorded. Now, I've written 5 books and I've recorded them, audio books.
Mhm.
It's taken me months because you know this stuff. You're recording something, even if it's a hypno audio, like
Takes
a
a while.
relaxation or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
You know, the dog barks, a car
Yeah.
drives past, the postman knocks, you cough, you can't speak properly, you know, some chair creaks, all of
Yeah.
that stuff that takes forever to get a decent audio out. With
Yes.
Eleven's Lab, there's none of that.
Mm.
So now I can take this transcript. So for all the hypnotherapists listening who thinks, you know, I'd love to get out some audios. I want to get out some relaxation audios. I want to get out weight loss audios, but it takes so long to get, you know, get in the studio and get it done. They can now, they could record. In fact, they don't even have to record it. They could get the script, or they could just speak like you're
Mhm.
speaking to a client. So now it's got the transcript. Run that through AI, tidy it all up, run that through Eleven's Lab, choose your voice, and it's recorded.
Yeah.
It takes minutes rather than weeks and months, and you can be putting out audios. I'm not doing that at the moment, but because I've got loads, so much stuff out there
Yeah, you got
already.
lots going on. Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, it's such an incredible tool.
Mm.
So, what the idea is, you get a book out and you market that book. So maybe for a week you spend 100 quid or whatever on 5 quid a day marketing a book. You tell all your social media that's out there. They buy the book, and all the money from the book goes back to marketing the book. If that makes sense. So
Yes.
you don't earn any money from the book. They go to the website now. They've got a short chance to buy your audio, which is you're like 20 quid. So now you can make some money out of your audio off the back of that, because it's, you know, hopefully the book's about helping people
Mhm.
overcome a problem. You can run a workshop. So now whoever's got the book is now, you've now got their email. Plus they're a customer. If you just give stuff away for free, they're not a customer. The moment they spend money with you, even if it's 4 quid, two
Yeah.
quid,
Yeah.
they're not a customer. You have a legitimate right to be able to email them with some new offers.
Yep.
So everyone's got the book, knows about the workshop. They go to the workshop. So whatever the workshop is, whatever your price for your workshop is, and then you record the workshop. So from one AI helped book, you've now got a book that's self-perpetuating
Yeah.
because you're spending the money on the book,
It's just a funding vehicle.
re-advertising the book.
You know.
They buy the audio. Off the back of the audio, they'll go to the hopefully go to the workshop. And off the back of the workshop, they buy the thing. So all of a sudden you've got a package, and that's just one.
Mhm.
So you could do that if you decided you want to do a weight loss thing. You could do that. You could do it for smoking. You could do it for all kinds of stuff. I play poker. That's my sport. I say I don't gamble. I play poker. So I've already written a poker mindset book.
Okay.
I haven't released it yet. That's the same thing. I buy the book for £4.99. Get the audio. Off the audio, they can get a little workshop.
Mm.
You just keep.
It's just a funding vehicle, really, isn't it? It's just a sort
Yeah,
of
I mean that's that. Yeah,
funds
and once
everything
it's
else.
done, it's done. It's out
Yeah.
there. It's not like you have to keep going back to it. But off the back of that, the main reason for this is you've now got a presence on social media.
Yep.
People have bought your book. If they bought your book and have had, you know, they've enjoyed it, or they've got a result with it, because you within my books there's little, you know, there's sessions. They can enjoy a session rather than just read it. They can in that book as well. Yeah, great. So the thing is that off the back of that, then if you're looking for help, Who are you going to go to?
Hmm.
You're going to go to someone you don't know, or someone whose book you bought,
Correct.
whose voice you're already used
You're
to.
familiar with, yeah.
So, but we have to be proactive.
Yes.
If you think you're going to sit in your front room watching breakfast TV and hope someone's going to find you, that's not going to happen.
No.
We have to get over ourselves. And I think for those people who don't know me, because they do know me, they probably heard this so many
Yeah, yeah.
times. I say to my students, there are a couple of things. One, instead of thinking how much money can I earn from being a hypnotherapist, think how many people can I help?
Yeah.
If you come at it from that angle, it's a different attitude.
Yeah.
But not only that, I say because most of my students, and you'll know this,
Yeah.
they say, I don't want to sell myself. I don't want to make those videos because people, what will people think and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And oh, I don't look good on video. I don't sound good. No one likes the sound of their voice.
No.
I don't know anyone likes the sound of their voice. So, but you have to get over ourselves because what I say is the word sell originates from the word sellier, which is an old Germanic word, which means to serve.
Hmm.
And if you have a product or a service that can enhance someone's life, and if you've done the training, whether it's with you, whether it's with Carl, whether it's me or Mike Mandel, you have a skill, you have an ability to help people.
Yep.
And if you do not, if you do not sell that, then everyone that doesn't know you exist, that's out there smoking or eating too much or drinking too much or full of fear because they don't know you exist, you've done that person a disservice. So it becomes your duty. If you never learned how to do this stuff, fair enough. Sit and watch daytime TV.
If you want,
But
yeah.
once you've got the skills,
Mm.
it's your duty to let people know you can help them.
Yeah. And that's something that I took with the last training I did with you down in Dublin a couple of years ago was exactly what you've just said. It was I went, that's bang on, and also the one thing, because I come from a sales background, as you know, and one of the things that you rightly say, nobody likes how they look, nobody likes how they sound.
Hmm.
But over time, the more you do it, the more desensitized you become to it. And it
Yeah.
just becomes something that you do. And all of a sudden, like my wife, she takes the piss out of me like nothing else because she'll
Hmm.
literally, honestly, she'll be just flicking through and a video of mine will come up. She doesn't need to say anything. She just goes, ugh. Because she
Yeah,
doesn't
I
like how
don't
I
look at
am
my
on camera.
videos. I
Yeah.
don't look at them because I'm going to pick them apart.
Yeah.
I do it, put it out there, and forget about it. I don't go because otherwise I'm going to critique it so that I won't put it out in the end. I think,
Yeah.
look at you, blah blah blah, and you just can't do it because everyone's the same. We
Yeah.
look in the mirror and we'll see everything that's wrong with us. That's the
Yes.
way it goes.
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
And
And
you've just got to do it. But it becomes your duty to do it. And there's so much, maybe in Ireland because it's quite new conferences,
mm,
and people may still think there's some kind of competitiveness going on. Well, there can be other hypnotherapists there. I've got a hypnotherapist down the road, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a conveyor belt of clients. We're
yeah.
never going to be able to help as many people as out there.
No.
There's 1.3 billion people on this planet who smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
80% of those people are actively looking to quit. That's a billion people
Yeah.
looking for our service. The world's never been so full of angst as it is at the moment.
No.
We can help those people.
But
It's for
that's,
the
yeah.
first time in the history of mankind, Andy, there are more people dying from obesity than starvation for the
Yeah.
first time in history.
Hmm.
And we have an ability to help. There's never going to run out of
No.
clients. So we have to get over this. When I say to our student, once you've been to those conferences, we've all got our own hang-ups.
Hmm.
You meet someone at a conference. If I meet you at a conference and I think, we get on all right, I think I'm going to reach out to Andy. I
Yeah.
need to feel more confident.
Hmm.
Hey, Andy, could you run a session with me on confidence?
Yeah.
Why are we not using each other? We've got these skills. We don't need to be competitive. We can
No.
we can all lift each other up, and that's what the Irish conference does for me.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not going to say it sounds like an old '60s word, but it's just a vibe
Yeah. No,
that you
you're
get
right.
at the Irish. That's what it is, and where there's no hierarchy. There's no look at
No.
him. There's no hierarchy. There's no competitiveness.
No.
It's just let's learn.
Yeah.
Let's have some time together. Let's speak about what we love. As I said, I've been doing this for 30 years, and for the first X amount of years, it was just a pretty lonely business because who do you speak to about this? Most people think you're mad. You
Yes.
start talking about hypnosis.
Yeah,
So
I still get that.
who do you speak to?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so that's the joy of the conference, and more so with the Irish conference and the other ones I've been to. I've been to them
yeah.
all around the world. And so if you're listening to this and you've not already been to the conference, and I'm not gaining anything by saying this, get along there, do yourself a massive kindness because it's a great experience and we're bound to learn. You cannot go to that conference and not learn something, even if it's out of dance.
Well, yeah.
You will learn something.
To be fair, yeah, with experience, you're up there. You're always giving it someone. There's even moves we can learn from you. But Freddie, I could talk to you for hours, but we must
Yeah,
probably draw
yeah,
this
you're fine. Yeah,
to a conclusion. But firstly, I'm glad to see that you're fighting fit again and all is good.
thanks. Yeah, yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you in Dublin next year.
And you, Andy, I look forward to it.
No, my pleasure, and I will see you soon. Thank you for your time.
Okay, take care.
See you now. Bye.
Bye.
No.